And we are being joined by Lisa.
Hi.
My roommate. Do you want to tell me what you want me to tell?
We're engaged.
We're engaged.
Over 50. Get married for the first
Finding
time.
our dream people over 50. Yes. Keep hope alive.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, I knew the first weekend that this woman was going to be my life partner. And like our first weekend, our first 3-day date, we sat down with a mentor and talked about what we were looking for in a relationship and what we liked about each other, because we both knew like this was going to be a long-term project. Mm-hmm. But I had this rule in my head to keep me from making dumb decisions. Like I have a rule like never let a friend borrow your car. So that like if I'm drunk at a party, someone goes, "Hey, can I get your car?" I just say, "Sorry, man, I have a rule. No borrowing my car." And another rule I had is you gotta know someone 2 years before you commit to a life with them.
It's a good rule. We talked about it.
Yeah, and I told her the rule.
Yeah.
But I also told her that at 2 years, I'm asking to marry me. So we've been engaged to be engaged for a while.
So it was both unsurprising and surprising. Because I definitely didn't expect it in that moment. We had like 10 minutes between things, and he just grabs my arm and takes me up to the cave.
The night before, during a group meditation, I just had this clarity of like, the 2-year rule doesn't apply because who you are now is not who you were then. And the relationship you're in now is nothing like anything you've had before. You made that decision based on a life experience that is different now. And you've known that this is going to be your person. So why are you just following an abstract rule that you made? And of course, if you like kill me in my sleep, like right before we hit 2 years, that is gonna be, people are gonna replay this video and be like, "See, 2-year rule, you broke the rules, this is what happens." And I just had this, and as soon as I knew like, no, I just woke up the next day and I'm like, I have to do it as soon as possible because all I can think about is, I must make her mine, you know, like, geez, I need to make this official, like.
Because, I might get away.
Well, there was a lot of, pretty charismatic men at the retreat. And I'm like, I got to lock her down. So then I started, well, what can I use for a ring? 'Cause I didn't plan this. I didn't have a ring with me. And my first idea was I got a bread twisty tie and made it like finger shaped, this little circular wire thing. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, even by like charming standards, that's tacky as fuck. I'm like, So I'm scouring, asking people if they have rings I could borrow, and then I was going to this junk drawer at the retreat center, and there was this wooden bead with a big hole and that fit on my pinky. I'm like, would this work? Okay, it's gonna work. And then I'm looking for you. You're on the computer. The first activity of the day was like 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it was like 9:30. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and the first activity was going to be a sharing circle. And I'm like, if I have to share from the heart and my brain is like, marry her, I'd be like, pass, I can't talk right now. I've got a big secret. I'm not good at not saying what's in my heart chart. So, and I knew that the place I wanted to go was like a 5-minute walk. And so we walk over this ridge. The area is it's got like a Joshua tree look, and there's this cave that's like 5 minutes away. And took her to this cave. It's like people go there to meditate, and there's an altar, and there's a rug in this huge, awesome cave. I sat her down, and I sang, "Loving you is the best thing that I choose to do," is the lyric. So I sang that while looking into her eyes, and then just started saying the things that I know to be true about why I know I want to be with her. And I didn't have anything written, but I watched the recording, and I'm like, oh, I know you were being pretty critical. Mm-hmm. And
you really painted me in a nice light here, honey.
I'm sorry. I hopefully
You're the one choosing to marry me.
Hopefully, I forget that. One of the things that is so has been so clear that I want to spend my life with you is our sense of humor is so dialed in. So I sometimes people don't always know how clearly we're on the level of joking. So I love this woman so much. I have never laughed so hard. I have never felt so heard. I've never felt so understood. I've never admired another human being so much. And the opportunity to commit to a partnership and a life with the person that I have more fun hanging out with, that I'm more attracted to, that I'm more inspired by, the more I want to be a supporter of your work in the world, I cannot believe how lucky I am to have been steered to you. And because of this steady microdosing of MDMA I've been putting in her coffee, she is falling for me too. And
I was on the fence with all those words. I'm like, that's nice, but let's see the ring,
And
look at this, like Cinderella's slipper, exactly my ring size. That's how I knew.
Yeah, I was iffy until then too. I was like, well, this will be the deciding factor. Yeah, and so you started laughing, and I had this brief moment of just say yes, then start laughing. And then you said yes, and then you said, I already have. I'm so happy, guys.
Can I kiss you yet?
Yeah.
We're happy. Anything's possible. We didn't know it 2 years ago.
Tell them a secret about me.
John doesn't have any secrets. He tells you everything. But I will say, it's actually been very healing for me that John shares everything about himself with the whole world, because in the past I've had partners who had secrets or lots of things that they kind of kept compartmentalized in other realms that ended up really exploding the relationship. And I feel so chosen. I feel so so clear, that everything's on the table, and it feels so good to be witnessed, and it feels so good to receive all of the happiness from our community. So thank you so much for all the celebrations in the comments I'm reading. It really feels validating and joyous.
Like, we have I think a really strong and continually expressed understanding that our relationship is a tool for our mutual spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And we've both done a lot of personal work and worked with a lot of clients. So we're under no illusions of what it means to be a human being. Mm-hmm. So rather than wishing that our partner was...
Or that marriage will just save the day. You're right.
No, it's just for tax purposes. Immigration. We know from experience that a short-term tension can lead to deeper connection.
Yeah.
And so we've been just practicing building trust, practicing saying, like, this is hard for me to say, mm-hmm. or I want to confess something, and having these, oh, wow, thank you for trusting me enough. Mm-hmm. Thank you for valuing us enough to risk me being upset. Mm-hmm. I so wanted to tell a joke right there, and I pulled back.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about you. You do have good discernment. But you do mention that you have the joke that you pulled back from.
I know. I only get like a B minus. I do not get didn't crush it. But that is something that I mean, this is the first relationship where I often do things because I want to make your life better and easier. Not because I want to make sure I'm doing my part in the relationship.
Totally.
And I trust that if you do something nice for me,
It's
I
from
don't
the
have this
same
feeling of
place,
like,
too.
oh boy, am I holding my own?
Yeah, there's
Like,
no
I don't have that feeling.
scorekeeping.
Yeah. And it requires both of us to be in that headspace. I think it's what, if one slips, then the other starts to feel a little resentment.
Right.
And that's the thing that we got to like, hey, I got to bring this into the conversation that,
Yeah.
yeah. So, unfortunately, our parents have forbid our marriage. We come from the different sides of the tracks, and no.
Romeo and Juliet.
No, our parents are thrilled, and we have no idea when or where, but we're off the market. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for letting us share our good news. I know there's a lot of hard stuff in the news. There's a lot of reasons to be scared or questioning all the suffering and oppression and struggle and destruction. And I think it's also good to remember that while all that is happening, there's love stories and triumphs and healing and beautiful babies being born. And it is of great service to this precious life to make sure you pay attention to all of it. And not even equally in aware of the suffering and really, really drink in the beauty.
And just around the corner, everything could change. I mean, you said you weren't ready a day before you were ready, and that same day before your readiness, I told the universe how genuinely joyful I was to be single, and how I didn't need a partner, and how deeply content I was with my life and my community and the friendships and intimacies that I had. And lo and behold, there's more.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a deep dating truth in there. In
nobody likes to hear it.
seeking is the most repelling thing that you can do, unfortunately. Any things about us or me that make it easy for you to commit to me?
Thanks for asking. Well, I was sharing when you were checking on the doorbell how grateful I am that you present yourself so openly and publicly everywhere, that I can really trust that you are yourself in all places, and I feel really chosen that way. That was the first thing that came up, and I think it comes up because I feel gratitude for all of you for being his people, for being the people that he wakes up every morning and chooses gratitude with, and he wouldn't do it without all of you guys coming. So thank you. I really appreciate your devotion. I know you don't identify as a person who is oriented to long-term commitments, and yet you've been doing Love Morning for years and homeless outreach for 14 years, 15 years, and answering every phone call from a friend in need. I really see the way that you show up in service for your life, and I admire and respect you right back.
Thank you, baby. I love you.
And mostly, it's just fun. I like everything about you. I like your face. I like your jokes most of the time. I like your tastes, your style. I love your smell. I like your family and your friends and community and your places that you choose to give your energy.
Thank you. I have such appreciation for who you are and your humanness and your capacity and your you don't need me, you know. And knowing how able you are to handle anything really lets me join you in the team and not worry that if something goes wrong, I got to figure this all out.
Yeah.
And so I've never had this feeling of team and future. I have so much faith. I'm pretty sure I could handle just about anything. But with you, I know we can handle anything.
And I borrow his confidence on occasion, because when I get insecure, I get really insecure. And, you know, the first thing I noticed about John, are you okay with us just talking about what we love about each other for all this time? I hope so.
They
can always leave.
Yeah, so the doors aren't locked. You can leave if you don't want to hear this.
When he walked into the room, and the first time I ever saw him, he didn't see me. I noticed his spine. I noticed his posture. I noticed how he carried himself with a quality of self-possession and self-respect. And how kind of rare that is to find. And it didn't feel like posturing. You know, I noticed your glasses. Your hair wasn't pink at that time.
That's right.
I noticed, like, you have style. But it didn't feel like it was style in the service of proving something, you know? Like, I'm so repelled by inauthenticity, and getting to know you was such a treat to see, like, oh, you're not doing the whole style and presentation of yourself in order to make people see you a certain way that isn't true. You are playing with the character of you in this life, you know, and we even talked about that in early conversations, and that's really what solidified it for me, is feeling like, oh wow, I've not met many people who are so comfortable with themselves that they're willing to just be so playful with everything about themselves, their look, their like I've often said, John donates his ego to the public, you know, like just by revealing everything. And I think it's such a beautiful service.
Thank you. For me, that donating to the public is a part of my therapeutic practice.
But it's also a heart of service. Like, you deeply want other people to feel permission to be themselves.
Yes.
Like, you want more room for everybody's authenticity. You don't have any part of you that's trying to be better than other people. Like, you're deeply inviting everybody up to the party of authentic expression with you.
Thanks. And I think we both have a profound understanding of what it is to be human. And so we haven't held on to this dream expectations of, well, man, some of these people are so together. If I could just get myself together, I could be like, no. And so, you know, when that became super clear to me, then it was like, oh, I can be of service just by acknowledging the truth, which is that sometimes I'm awesome and sometimes I'm really kind of embarrassing.
still smell good.
That was the thing. Like, we used to call each other puzzle pieces because, like, every texture and smell and taste that this human being creates in any degree of
Careful.
okay, like, it's like I've never had the experience of just like
I know. I told him to shower less.
well,
Thanks, everybody.
yeah.
Thanks for sharing our love. Thanks for loving this man that I love, and for doing it well before I even knew he was out there.
Yeah.
Thanks for your part in our play, and for our part in yours, and let's keep going.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too.
I can't wait for the rest of everything.
What's gonna happen?
What's gonna happen? Yes, the it's out of the bag. Lisa is off the market. I've claimed her. I put a ring on it. This is my partner for the rest of our lifetimes. Although we did kind of make an agreement that next go around we're going to find each other earlier. I mean, this is perfect, but I'm just going to try it different next time.
I'm looking forward to all the questions and the conversations to come about marriage. I feel excited about the study of what commitment is, because it's a complicated thing. You know, we live in a world where lots, if not most, marriages end in divorce, and I'm so curious, how we will craft our orientation to commitment together. And I love that I don't feel pressure to know right now. I love that I feel like we are creating it together, and without illusion that just naming it somehow magically protects us from hardship or the challenges. You know, I feel in some way it almost invites it, you know, but it also protects us at the same time. And there's nobody I'd rather do it with.
Me too. And there's like thousands of years of patriarchy traditions that we can, learn from to guide us.
And that ends our broadcast.
I think I own you now, so I get to decide. I just kidding. You're my queen. I love you so much.
Bow to my feet.
I would do anything you want.